Hi guys, I'm Natalie Willis, the baby sleep trainer. Let me just start by saying that you should buckle up because I'm gonna get really personal in this video. One thing that I have learned through my work with so many families and so many years is that anxiety is the default, especially for moms and sometimes dads too. It seems to be that a majority of people feel anxious. There are changes that take place in the brain, especially in mothers after they give birth. This has been shown to be really real. The part of your brain that worries is larger after you have a baby and remains larger forever. So if you already had an issue with anxiety, it's likely that it's going to grow a little bit bigger when you have a baby and maybe even stay a little bit bigger over time. But knowing that you have anxiety is a really good first step to learning how to deal with it. It might not surprise you to know that I struggle with anxiety. Again, it's something that I feel a lot of people can say doesn't really make me that unique. One of the reasons I started Baby Sleep Trainer probably stems directly from my anxiety. I remember how old I was when I started feeling anxious and basically continued to feel anxious for the rest of my life. I was about 7 years old. I had a scary incident at home. This really scary experience that triggered a panic attack. I've only had 2 in my life. And from that moment going forward, I was just really anxious and worried and scared all the time. I even get this thing I call the nervous poops when I get anxious or worried. So like if I can't find my kid or I'm waiting for a scary phone call or anything really makes me anxious, my stomach hurts, sometimes I throw up. And so my body gets really freaked out. And I think this is all left over from this one scary experience that I had. But when I had my first child, Olive, one of the ways that I tried to calm my anxiety, and you may find that you do this too, is that I planned. And the reason that people who have anxiety tend to plan a lot is because that makes them feel like they are in control. And you might find that actually planning does help you be in control of your life in general. Maybe you don't have a lot of things in your life that tend to go wrong because you plan a lot and you're really prepared, but guess what? Babies are not something that you can control. They can throw a lot of disarray and chaos into your life, and that's just any baby. Even a baby that is an angel baby who's super chill and really calm and kind of just hangs out and doesn't really cry a lot and doesn't seem to have a lot of issues with eating and sleeping. But if you are watching this video and if you watch my other videos on my YouTube channel, it's probably because your baby, like lots of babies, has some issues with sleep. If your baby has issues with sleep, you have issues with sleep, because if your baby is waking up, you're waking up. You may also find that in addition to anxiety, you may be experiencing other postpartum mood disorders such as postpartum depression. So postpartum anxiety and depression, again, very common. These are not things that can really resolve, as far as I understand, without sleep. So if you're having really fragmented sleep, it's gonna be really challenging for you to overcome these issues as well. And again, lack of sleep is going to exacerbate the issues. Things like postpartum psychosis, which can be kind of a scary thing that happens more rarely to mothers, is really exacerbated by lack of sleep. My anxiety really peaked when I had my second child. So my first child was 2.5, almost to the day, when I had my second child. And by the time my second child was 6 months old and my first child was 3 years old, I was really overwhelmed. Even though I had them both sleeping and really tightly on a schedule, that really only barely kept me together. And I started getting these debilitating migraines, and it was really awful because they started in the afternoon, and then they started in the earlier afternoon, and then they would start at 11, and I could wake up and I didn't feel sick, and I could start to feel them coming on, and that was pretty much it. My day was shot. That was like a lost several months for me. I went to a neurologist who said, you have a panic disorder and I recommend that you take this medication. I wasn't really interested in taking the medication, at least not at first, because I was really worried about the side effects that I would experience. I said, okay, I'm going to try to deal with this panic disorder. If that's what you're telling me that my issue is, I'll start with that. And if I can't address it, then we'll talk about using some medication. I started to use some talk therapy, and also I discovered that meditation and hypnosis are really effective at combating anxiety. I found a really wonderful meditation hypnotherapist in the city that I lived at the time, in Los Angeles, and he helped me work through a lot of issues. I tend to be a person that's fairly into Western medicine, but I also think I'm a little bit of a critical thinker, so I will often try to deal with things in ways that might not have as many side effects as medications will give me. I tend to get a lot of side effects from medication. And so I decided, if I'm gonna go into it with this guy, I'm just gonna go totally in. Came very well recommended. And meditation and self-hypnosis, that's something the US Army even uses to deal with symptoms of PTSD that soldiers experience after they come back from combat and conflict zones. And so I thought, I can can do this. I have to tell you that it was really life-changing. Meditation is a practice that you can have on your own. Probably read about it. You don't need me to tell you a lot about it, but it's a lot of deep breathing and, kind of clearing your mind and giving your brain some time to have some peace and clarity and not thinking about things. It really goes hand in hand with what you do in hypnotherapy. The way that my hypnotherapist explained the practice, what he was doing, is that I had spent all this time in talk therapy getting at the root of what my anxiety was. I knew that anxiety was something that my brain had a preponderance towards, and my brain sends out chemical responses into my body that makes my body think something is in danger, which makes my mind think something is in danger. And so what happens when you don't actually have anything in your immediate vicinity that's in danger is you're going to start to think about your closest concentric circles, your kids and your partner, and you're going to think, is anything wrong there? And if nothing's wrong there, you're going to go to maybe your parents or your close friends, and you'll go to work, and you'll keep thinking and finding and thinking and thinking and thinking until you find the thing that's giving you anxiety. And when you have a baby, it's pretty easy to find something to be anxious about. So you're in this anxious state, right? And so you can go to talk therapy to think about what this issue is that is the root of your anxiety or why you're anxious. But then really there's not often really a solution, because now you're like, yeah, I get it. I understand that I'm in the anxious state, but what am I supposed to do about it? Hypnotherapy is really pretty magnificent because an excellent hypnotherapist, one that's really well trained, basically help you go into your subconscious and help you address those issues at that level and essentially change your relationship with those things that are giving you anxiety, so that when you encounter that triggering experience again, it might not trigger you. If you're using that in conjunction with meditation, meditation can help your brain. It actually physically changes your brain. When you see brain scans of people who practice meditation, their brain structures are physically different. And so these are things that you're going to be able to use to really combat your anxiety. Of course, you want to talk to your doctor and follow their advice as well, but know that anxiety is very common in parenthood. And in addition to addressing your children's sleep, which of course we have so many resources and Baby Sleep Trainer to help your baby get more sleep, so you get more sleep, using these other tools of talk therapy and meditation and hypnotherapy can also be really, really effective in giving you a little bit more peace and helping you get to a place like where I am now, where I feel like I can largely keep my anxiety under control. I've also found that the older I get, the less anxious that I am. And I don't know if that's just me or a common thing, but I think that as you get a little bit more comfortable in life and comfortable with your children and your role as a parent, it can also help you be less anxious as well. Thanks for listening to me talk about this. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the little bell for some notifications if you want to know any new videos that we put out.